My name is Kayode Bentley, President and founder of 4T's Productions, which stands for Teaching Teens to Think. It is a nonprofit organization that helps students and inner-city youth develop their natural professional skill sets in order to effectively attain a career and start a business. Here with me today is Kevin Singleton, CEO of ElevateNY, a nonprofit organization that helps at-risk youth from disadvantaged families, providing students of Banana Kelly High School, where we are at today, located in the Bronx, with classes on leadership, vision, and career possibilities. Hello, Kevin. Thank you very much for taking the time out your busy schedule to have this interview with us and helping inner city youth. I would just like to start off by saying, or asking you, who are you and what do you do?
Wow. Well, as you said in the intro, I'm the founder and the CEO of ElevateNY.
Yeah.
But ElevateNY is really a culmination of my life's work. Back in, as I like to say, back in the 1900s, when I graduated from college in 1987, I began to travel the world as a motivational speaker.
Okay.
And so I began to speak just in high schools and middle schools, elementary schools around the country, and this by word of mouth. I looked up, and 15 years later, I'd spoken to over 3 million kids in 20 countries around the world.
Wow.
And so when I saw the Elevate program, it was a culmination of that. All of the principles that I was already teaching, the organization that we're replicating, which is Colorado Uplift, they actually had a curriculum for that.
I mean, what connected you to young people? I mean, you said that you started out speaking to young people all these years, but what started that?
What started that? Well, my college coach was one of this is a part that I've left out. Part of what I used to do when I traveled was I did basketball drills. And so,
okay.
About 80 pounds ago, I was a college basketball player. And my college coach was one of the top ball handlers in the world at that time. So he was the guy that would show up at the camps and show you all the ball handling tricks that you needed to do to improve your game.
Okay.
I was the guy on the team that would stay 15 minutes early and do it, and then or show up to practice 15 minutes early and then stay 15 minutes later, right? And so I became the guy that learned all of those drills. And then one day, my senior year, my college coach got real sick, and he was supposed to speak for a high school, and he sent me in his stead. And of course, at first I was afraid. I was like, I can't do this. But he's like, well, you do it every summer at our camp, so just do the same thing you do at camp. And I did it, and I saw the impact I had on the lives of the kids at that school. And so at that point, I began to think, man, this is something that perhaps I could do. Then, oddly enough, one of the coaches in our conference, an opposing team's coach, told me, he said, Kevin, you can make a career out of this. And so with those two instances, my coach, sending me in his stead, and another coach saying, Kevin, I think you can make a career out of this, I began to look at it. And so that's part of the story. The other part of the story is when I was playing professionally. I played 1 year professionally, the 88-89 season.
Okay.
I played on the island of Cyprus off the coast of Greece, right? And so when I was there playing, after we finished the regular season, there was a month in between the regular season and the tournament, which you played to qualify for the European Cup. But when I came back, I had a chance to speak at Future Business Leaders of America. I don't know if you ever heard of that group.
Actually, vaguely, yes.
Future Business Leaders of America. And this was so long ago, they still had Future Homemakers of America, okay? That's like not even politically correct no more. But so I spoke at a Future Business Leaders of America and a Future Homemakers of America camp in Kentucky, Hardinsburg, Kentucky. Never forget it. And I saw the impact that I was having in the lives of those kids. And just so happened that the same kids who were leaders for those organizations were leaders with student council. They were leaders with student government. They were leaders on their campuses. And so they were like, Kevin, why don't you come and speak for us? And so at that time, when I went back and finished the tournament, I had a decision. Because I saw what my life could be, and then, I had to weigh, did I want to play basketball? Did I want to eat right all the time and play basketball 12 hours a day? Or did I want to do this? And I chose this path.
Who were the people who influenced you? I understand it's your coach.
Yeah, my college coach, Bill Peterson, who now works for the Milwaukee Bucks.
Okay.
He actually teaches the Milwaukee Bucks the same thing he was teaching us. So he's their workout coach.
All right, so he has a system there that works.
Absolutely.
You're an example of
Absolutely.
that. Is it safe to say that is he your support system, or do you have a support system as you're on this career path right now, or as you started on this career?
Well, I would say that when I was starting on the career path, he was definitely a support system.
Okay.
And then there were other people who came along. There's a lady named Tanya Crevier. She's actually one of the top ball handling experts in the world. She would come through because she knew my coach from camps. She would come through and she would teach me things. And then just so happened between my junior and senior year of college, I was on an international tour with her brother. And so her brother taught me some things. And so all along that path, there were different people who were giving me, different keys to how you do these basketball tricks. Right? So mentoring is very important. It was a very important part of my life, which is why it's an important part of what we do with Elevate.
All right. How are you in mentoring these young people? How have you been able to establish that success in reaching these young people?
Well, the wonderful thing about the program, when you talk about establishing success and mentoring, I think a true mentoring relationship is one where the mentee really desires what the mentor has to give. Okay? Because if I come at you trying to tell you to do stuff, even if I know that I can help you, but you don't really want it, then I'm either arrogant or you're really not trying to hear what I'm saying. And so what we do in Elevate is we have to earn the right to be heard. And I believe we earn the right to be heard in this classroom by teaching them things that can actually help them in life. We've heard our students say, that they believe everybody in the school should have an Elevate class because they're learning things here that they wouldn't learn anywhere else. And so I believe that gives us what we call the platform to then speak into their lives.
What can you say is or are some of the accomplishments that you have made with ElevateNY in dealing with those obstacles and challenges that you face?
Well, what we would call an accomplishment is when kids come in, and like one young man just came in today and he said, "Hey, I want to recruit for Elevate."
Wow.
He says, he's basically saying, "I want to be an advocate.
Okay.
I want to be the guy who gets the right kind of kids in here next year."
Okay.
And so, or when I get kids, like yesterday was the last day of school, and kids go, "Now you got my email address, right? You got my phone number, because if you do anything in the summer, I want to be a part of it." So when I start hearing that kind of feedback, that means we've accomplished something.
Okay.
We've made some inroads into the lives of kids.
I guess what kind of advice could you give these young people as they enter into the workforce, especially in this economy the way it is now? What kind of guidance could you give them from your experience, just like I've tried to address the challenges and roadblocks that you face? What can you tell them?
Well, here's what I want to say to young people about that. You have to reach out for mentors. Okay? Someone who is in the field that you want to go.
Ultimately, you're telling the young people that's about to enter the workforce and they're, looking for their career, looking how to establish a career, that the first start with a mentor.
They've got to be proactive themselves. Most mentors aren't going to come and find them. There's a few people, as we know, who are proactive in looking for mentees.
Okay.
And so I think the responsibility is on the mentee to say, "Hey, can you help me? Do you ever spend time with people? Mm-hmm. What can I do to help you? Mm-hmm. Can I file papers for you? Can I carry your bag? What can I do for you? Can I drive you? If a kid has a car, can I drive you to the airport? What can I do to help you?"
How important is education for them? How important it is at this age, their junior year and their senior years, to value the education that they're getting and be able to use that education in high school to give them some leverage into coming to a mentor with something to the table, as opposed to just expecting the mentor to give them something. What is your intake on that? How valuable is an education for these young people? The job is fine, the career is fine, but...
Well, in relation to the way you asked the question, in relation to sports, professional sports, and professional music career, I would challenge all these kids, and y'all know you got Google, so do some deep research on Google and Wikipedia, and Google how many athletes actually make it from high school to the professional ranks in any sport. And there are I think there's 93 million kids in public schools all around America. And of those, I don't know, let's say 10% of them play sports. Of those 9 million, 10%. Think about how many people are on all the NFL teams put together, all the NBA teams put together, and all the MLB teams put together. It's not a whole lot. And so probably less than 1% of high school athletes ever make it. The reality is that not as many record companies and the record industry now with downloads and the way y'all are stealing music offline, young people. All right.